Lesson 5.1, Rate of Change and Slope. The objective of this lesson is to find rates of change from tables and to find slope. Vocabulary. Rate of change is the relationship between two quantities that are changing. The rate of change is also called slope. Rate of change equals the change in the dependent variable over the change in the independent variable. Slope. The ratio of the vertical change to the horizontal change. Slope equals vertical change over horizontal change, which is the same as rise over run, and the slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And this you're going to want to have. This is very important. Essential understanding. You can use ratios to show a relationship between changing quantities, such as vertical and horizontal change. Problem 1. The table shows the distance a band marches over time. Is the rate of change in distance with respect to time constant? What does the rate of change represent? So again, we're going to look at rate of change equals change in dependent variable over the change in the independent variable. So to calculate the rate of change, we're going to calculate the rate of change from one row of the table to the next. So 520 minus 260 over 2 minus 1, which is 260. We're going to see if the rate of change is constant. So we take the next two. 780 minus 520 over 3 minus 2, which is also 260. And then let's make sure it's very constant. Take 1040 and subtract it by 780, and take 4 and subtract 3 from it, and we get 260. Therefore, the rate of change is consistent and equals 260 feet per minute, and it represents the distance the band marches per minute. Finding slope using a graph. Problem 2. What is the slope of each line? When we're trying to find slope from a coordinate plane or a graph, we can use the concept that slope equals rise over run. So here in this graph, we have the point over here and the point over here. So we rise 2 up, which is positive 2, and we run, or we go to the right 3 units. Right is positive 3. So the slope of this graph is 2 over 3. In this graph, we're going from this point to this point. So where our rise is actually going down 4 units. And when you go down, it is a negative 4. And then our run is right 3 units, which is positive 3. So the slope here is negative 4/3. Finding slope using points. You can use any 2 points on a line to find its slope. Slope equals rise over run, or y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And again, I told you this formula is very important when you're finding slope from 2 points. So problem 3. What is the slope of the line through -1, 0, and 3, -2? So step 1, we need to find the slope, so start with the slope formula. Step 2, substitute -1, 0 for x1, y1, and 3, -2 for x2, y2. So you substitute those values in here. Pay attention to the minus signs. They stay there regardless of what y1 and x1 is. And step 3 is to just simplify to find the answer. So -2 minus 0 is -2. 3 minus -1 turns into 3 plus 1. Simplify that, -2 over 4, which is simplified to -1/2. Concept summary. Slopes of lines. A line with positive slope slants upward from left to right, which is located in this picture. The graph rises from left to right, so that would be positive slope. A line with negative slope slants downward from left to right, which is right here. A horizontal line has a slope of 0, and a vertical line has an undefined slope. So let's do some sample problems together. Number 1, what is the slope of this line right here? So here's the line, and we're going to go from this point to this point. So we're going to use the concept of rise over run. We're going to go 1, 2, 3 down, which would be -3 over 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right, which is positive 4. What is the slope of the line through 1, 3, and 4, negative 1? So we're going to use the slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. 1 is x1, 3 is y1, 4 is x2, and negative 1 is y2. So we're going to substitute those values in. So negative 1 minus 3 over 4 minus 1. Negative 1 minus 3 is negative 4, and 4 minus 1 is positive 3. Your slope of the line is negative 4/3. What is the slope of the line through 4, negative 3, and 4, 2? Again, we're going to use the slope formula of y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And again, always label what numbers are what. So 4 is x1, negative 3 is y1 because they're the first coordinate. 4 over here is x2, and 2 is y2. Substitute those values in. So we have 2 minus a negative 3 over 4 minus 4, which this simplifies to 2 plus 3 all over 0, which is 5 over 0, but can you ever divide a number by 0? No, if you try to do this in the calculator, you will get an error message, so therefore the slope is undefined. If 0 was in the numerator, the slope would be 0. And we're going to do more problems with slope in the next, when we see you guys tomorrow.